Okay, so to reiterate, we are going through the life's work / brand sphere today, similar to how we've gone through the other ones. And the update for today, the thing that has been coming up with a lot of clients recently has been this sense of the more in tune we are, and I just said this, but it's like, this is what's coming up again. The more in tune we are with who we are, especially with our authority, our decision-making authority, that is where the keys to making consistent decisions that, you don't end up with um, buyer's remorse or fear of missing out, or, any of those things where it's like, that can really feel crippling as a business owner sometimes. When we really tap into our authority, that's where decision making starts to get so much easier. And I see this in different ways, because I have clients who are all across the spectrum. The one that's coming up to share right now is going through a big decision to sell her business or not sell her business right now. And she is an emotional authority. And so what she has been saying, or some of the words have been like, oh, I know I keep flip-flopping. I know I keep like going back and forth. And, and when I met with her, we like came back in. I said, hey, this is your process. This is normal for you to swim in the uncertainty until you feel more certain. And so just to really like give herself grace in this moment. This is a big moment. This is a big decision. It's not, where are we going for dinner? It's not even, am I going to hire someone or fire someone? This is really big. And that grace of, yes, take your time. Take your time to swim in the high, swim in the low, and do it a few times until you come to center. And that's how you make a decision that's going to feel right for you. So I know Kristen is an emotional authority. Kira, what's your authority?
I say it's sacral.
Okay.
That's one of them, right?
Yes. And do you have a defined solar plexus? That's the right triangle, or is it's undefined, right?
All of my roots, those bottom three are all undefined.
Okay, right. That's what I thought I remembered. Yeah. So you don't have that emotional wave. I do not either. Mine is sacral. Um, and Sebastian is splenic authority. So that one's kind of similar to sacral, but even lighter. It doesn't have quite that same like strong reaction. So really, like allowing that to be okay, allowing your decision-making process to like welcome it versus make it wrong in any way. Is what was coming up. So today we're going to go through the life's work / the brand sphere. Oh, I forgot to change this part. The meditation that we'll go through is not, oh, where are we going? There we go. Not this one, but rather, where are you feeling in confusion, or where are you imitating others? That's the brand sphere is all about you and where's your uniqueness versus, what anyone else would do in your position. If there's anyone else in the world that is a fractional COO, is a financial advisor, is an author, right? What's your uniqueness in this world so that you are connecting to you and not imitating others? And then open for questions and then some homework. So the top sphere here is what we're looking at today, the life's work. It is part of both the Pearl sequence, you can see the blue, and the Genius sequence, the green. And so that might be something we get into later. We might go through some of the other sequences a little bit too. But in the pearl sequence, we call this the brand. And the brand, rather than the brand being, whatever you come up with in your logo and all of that, it's not your branding. The brand is you. And the word brand is derived from the word brinnen, meaning both to burn and sword. So your brand is therefore the sword that you brandish out in the world, an extension of your spirit that you can wield in the world, is how Richard Redd puts it. Your brand is the extension of your personality. It comes from your conscious sun. So it's the very top right corner of the human design chart, the top black square. And it's your outer representation in life. It's your specific stamp or symbol that can catch the attention of others. And if we look back here, it's connected. It's got connections everywhere, but right, it's connected to the culture sphere and that. So this grabs the attention. This is the thing, your outward reflection to the world around you, and the culture sphere, the people that are drawn to you, right? These work together. These work together on this fractal line so that you grab the attention and then you magnetize the right people to you. That's how these two work together. Once you have realized that your brand or product is really an excuse for you to pass on a sacred transmission of truth down your fractal line, then you will find yourself an exponent of executive magic. I thought that was fun. It's coming into your truth. That's what this last piece is saying. It's really about the truth of your soul, the truth of your expression in this lifetime, and it's your ability to articulate that truth and pass it along to others that creates the sphere of your brand. So as always, this is mine. I'm a 4-6. That 6 line shows up all over my chart. And so this is, again, the conscious sun, my life's work. Youthful folly, the energy to beguile and succeed despite ignorance, freedom from retribution, and the gate of formulating answers. And the beauty here, so when we look into the shadow and the gift and the siddhi, intolerance, when we look into this space of youthful folly, this is how I bridge the connections. When we are intolerant of a childlike exploration, a childlike wonder, right? That's what the youthful folly is. Children make mistakes. Children try things. They try to climb trees and fall out of them. They try to pour milk and spill it all over the floor. This is that sense, right? Sometimes they try harder things and fail harder. But the gift of that gate is the freedom from retribution, is the freedom of being a child, being childlike, being in that expressive experimentation, and being able to formulate answers because you've tried so many different things. So that's the human design side for me, is this sense of exploration, curiosity out in the world, and then formulating answers because I have tried so many different things. The intolerance or the shadow and the gift, the intolerance being, where am I intolerant of either myself or others for making mistakes? Where am I intolerant of myself or others for, trying something new? Where am I being in the shadow of that with myself, with my family, with my colleagues? And how do I move into understanding instead? How do I allow myself to lift up and be, see the whole situation for what it is and go, I see why we tried that. I understand all of the spaces around, your exploration. Here's how I might have done that differently, without shame, without judgment, without the intolerance. The line designations for these ones are really beautiful too. So again, I'm a line 6, vision, education, always that like long, broad vision and the desire to teach and educate others is one of the main qualities of my brand sphere. So all of the experimentation I've done, okay, great. Now I've got some answers. Now I can teach. That's the track for me. So I would love to hear some of yours, actually. So tell me what your lines are on your spheres. You can put it in the chat too. Not looking at the chat yet. Here we go. Line 1, line 3, humor. That's funny. Humor and pleasure. Taking delight in things. Oh gosh, we've got, yeah, all different. Image, passion. That's a really interesting one, Kira, for you with especially with the photography. Let's see. So line 2, I'm going to read this one for you. Line 2, passion, image. You may recall that the sphere of evolution is also, oh, no, we don't need that. In the case of evolution, the passion is about relationships, whereas here it is simply about the expression of passion through our life and work. As a second line, expression has less to do with content and more to do with style and performance. This does not in any way mean that the content is less important. It simply means that the best way for you to communicate is by being creatively free. Sometimes the best way of saying something is by not saying it directly, but through artistic expression, metaphor, or enactment. The second line communicates its essence through rapture, embodied emotion, and movement. Passion has so many doors, and as a second line, you must find the doors that suit you the best. And you must also trust that the frequency of your message will be understood regardless of how you say it, because you are it. The method for the second line is all about image. And this can be about using visual images, either through the creative imagination in a more literal way, or it can be in a more general sense. So yeah, all of this in our advertising metaphor is what this is. The second line sells its product using image. And it's all about how the aesthetic of things are, or how beautiful or shocking an image you can leave people with. So what are you taking from that, Kira? I would love to hear, and what your sphere is as well.
The gate.
Yeah, the gate. Yeah, thank you.
It's 6-2, and so did we go over this on our week 1 as well?
No.
No.
No, we did the vocation sphere on week 1. Week 1 we did an overview.
Okay, I guess that's just what I was getting it from. Okay, so I've kind of already gone into this a little bit. So line 2, what did you say it was? It was passion with image as the, what is it in parentheses, did you mean?
Yeah, image.
But what does it mean? Like
literally like the visual aesthetic.
Oh, sorry, I'm not like putting this correctly. What is it that's inside the parentheses? Like, did you say it was advertising? Like what is it like in adjacent to passion? What does it mean?
Yeah, he's calling it he's using an advertising metaphor.
Okay.
To make this, where did we go? On these lines. So if the way that you would advertise is what he's saying. So either advertise with boldness or advertise with passion or advertise with humor, or with heart or wisdom or vision. That's kind of where he was going with the metaphor for these lines.
I'm definitely, it seems to really relate. I mean, it's the sun, and it also has like, it's like the top of that culmination. So I can see how all of my other spheres fit into that really well. And it's actually something that I'm going through right now with like a brand identity change, specifically when it comes to style. Like I hired a private stylist and they're coming this month to help me out and stuff. So it's really interesting to hear this and have it be about image. And that's something that I have struggled with for so long. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, when you asked us to do that meditation on and asking our 10-year-old self, is there anything that is like scary or hard? Something that my inner child said to me was, I don't know what to say or how to dress. And that came up quite strongly. So it's interesting to be doing this brand identity and have it specifically be passion and image, because a lot of the times I feel very non-impassioned, just very, very steady, like a rock. And that's something that my clients really rely on, is my like rock-like ability to just be like, this is what we're going to do and move through it. But then I often take all of that energy and give it to them, and I have none left over for myself. So my own like personal self as a brand, me being me, feels very non-passionate, and my image feels very mediocre and bland. So that's very interesting to be looking into that right now.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And clearly a full synchronicity there, and that you're looking at this and working on branding right now, in the sense of being able to the word that's coming up is surrender. Surrender to the help that you have given yourself, right? Like the support that you've given yourself in creating new images, new branding. Oh, he's good. Just that, that sense. Oh, sorry, Leaf is having an issue.
Okay.
Are you okay, bud? Hmm.
You can take a moment and be with Leaf, totally fine.
Okay. Do you guys, can I pause? Yeah, I'll pause for just a moment here. So sorry. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. He's been having seizures recently and he's on medication and he was just, it was like kind of that precursor to weird things happening, but he seems okay. Okay. Thank you. Yes, so back to 6, Kira. This one, we had talked about this because Barry and Dominique both had 6 in one of their spheres also. So we went over this, the shadow is conflict, rooted in the battle of the sexes. Was that one for 6. And that it can be interpreted individually through relationships or collectively through communities. And at the individual level, it manifests through your emotional state. And it's through emotional repression, shame or guilt or abuse. The entire culture within your being has been disturbed. And it'll show as being either over attentive or tactless, are the repressed and the reactive natures. The over attentive being overly concerned with maintaining peace between people, regardless of the cost to you. And it's based entirely upon fear and means that these people will totally compromise themselves in order to maintain control of their emotional environment. It's also a pattern of people pleasers. And then the other side of tactless would be the side that is unable to contain emotions at all and just, says it like it is, or I'm just really blunt, or, all of those, like no tact in how they deliver a message to someone. Which one of those feels more keyed in for you? Was it the repressive? We talked about that.
Yeah, the repressive of the people pleaser, that's something that I have been working on for a long time. But I think that sometimes when I skew too far to the edge to like not do that, I do turn into the tactless shadow part. So that is very interesting. And I think that with the line 2 of being passion, I do get very passionate about like healing and somatic body work and therapy and stuff like that. And that's something that I like very much care about and is a part of all of my clients' lives as well. So I think that's very interesting. And I've been working a lot on not doing the repressive nature, but also not being reactive as well.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting. And I love the way that you just said that, because that can be one of the patterns as well, is if we tend towards one way or the other and allow ourselves, okay, so if I'm going to react differently, I'm going to react, do the other one, and
Still in the shadow.
right. You're still in the shadow either way versus,
Mhm.
okay, how do I lift up and out into the gift, which for you would be diplomacy. Mhm. Moving towards peace, the city of peace. The gift of diplomacy is far more than the ability to speak the right words. That's a mere surface skill that can be mastered by anyone, even at a low frequency. True diplomacy is an energetic gift operating through a person's aura. Because it's so embedded within human sexuality, it is about the penetration of borders and boundaries. Because of the 6th shadow, there is tremendous friction between the opposite sexes. Both sides are so busy defending their individuality that there's very little real love or connection. But this friction is maintained only as long as each party hangs on to its defenses. As the sixth gift enters into human relationships, emotional barriers begin to break down between people. The 6th gift catalyzes the process of dissolving the natural friction between opposites. And in doing so, it allows a far greater exchange of energy between them. I think that's the key. That the gift itself of diplomacy is what catalyzes the process of dissolving natural friction between opposites. How do you see that in your work as a COO as well? Do you see that?
I think it's part about being that bridge still, again, like just constantly in between either bodies, whether it's the people within the team or the visionary to the team, or in Marla and Julian's case, it's literally a feminine masculine, but their roles are often swapped within them, where Julian's more of the feminine. So just learning how to alchemize those, all of them together to do that kind of peaceful exchange for like the best optimization of energy, essentially, is what it comes down to all the time, is how do I use what they're giving me, meet them where they're at, and then actually bring forth what it is that they're wanting to bring forth into the world, instead of getting mired down in like the weeds of who am I really.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Kristen or Sebastian, what about you? Kristen, what's your gate? Your line.
I'm reading
One.
right now and I'm chuckling.
Yeah.
I'm on point. It's exciting. My line is 1 and my gate is 31. So 31.1. And it's all about words and writing and how it needs to be from love and using words to express like a vibrational frequency. And the shadow is that words can be used are timeless in a way, and they can be used to deeply manipulate whole groups of people, and it uses religion, that you can change just a little bit, and how harmful it can be when used, when it's like out of integrity and not connected with the heart. It's wild.
That is pretty wild.
You read about it, I'm like, wow. Right? And even the line boldness, it's really interesting too.
Boldness, and with the in parentheses, it's a security. So that's really interesting.
Or it's perfect. It's like you could read the back of what I wrote on my book for the book description summary, and this line comes out, because it's saying that you look at it through the lens of the sense of security it can bring others. You use the shadow of the brand to see the very fear that you're here to help others transform. You're here to help others confront their fears and inspire them towards self-empowerment. And I'm literally on the back of the book, like talking about, like this pain point of feeling invalidated and blamed in your relationship with healthcare providers. And like, you don't have any choice. You don't know where to go. And shifting it toward the shadow can unnerve people. The gift can make them feel safe, and the siddhi can awaken them.
Arrogance can unnerve people. Leadership can awaken them. Is that it?
That was from the line.
That's from the line. Yeah.
From the line. Yeah. The one thing in the line that stood out to me that was like a nice affirmation was that for line 1, it has to be grounded in knowledge before it speaks. And that is the choice. That is the choice I'm making and have been making. And sometimes I judge myself for that.
For the doctoral work?
Not that specifically, but just like choosing that path in my life of this could be a place where I might judge myself for going too slow. And not just like, making a choice faster, and like really taking my time to, a lot of times I'll like really get all the pieces together internally before I speak. That's even in intimate relationships too. And I have often judged myself and been judged by others for that. There's more to it, right? It's like sometimes there's like a willingness to be vulnerable. There's other pieces to it. But speaking to this specific piece that stood out to me, where I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. That's part of my design.
And it feels like a push-pull. a little bit between being a manifesting generator and the line 1, because the man gen wants to move fast. And so I wonder if even that's just like an internal pulse, right? Like that you are aligned, like that's your first line of your profile. And so that is also like a really deep expression in the world for you to go deep and to gather a lot of knowledge and to like want all the information before you do the experiments, the line 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's so interesting. That's so interesting to see it in that way, that you have the ability slash the like the sacral drive to move quickly, but you've got that line 1 that really wants to gather your information first. And that's correct for you.
Yeah, I feel completely resonant with it, and very much in alignment with doing that in my life at this stage.
Beautiful. And then this again, being the brand, being the life's work, that it's your forward facing expression. The branding in particular, I really like this distinction between your brand and your, what's the other word? I can't remember off the tip of my tongue, but that your brand is what other people say about you, is your brand, right? It's not necessarily what you're saying about yourself. That's your marketing. Your branding is like what other people see and say about you.
Yeah, that is an important discernment.
Yeah. So it's the face that you're, if you look in the mirror, you can see it, but even that is like an inverse, right? When you look at the mirror, you're seeing what you see versus what other people see. So beautiful. Sebastian, what about you? Do you want to look at yours?
Line 3, humor. Yeah, and I remember when I first, what's that?
What's your gate?
Oh, my gate. Gate is 4. Yeah.
Oh, so you're a 4-3. I'm a 4-6.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
So that same, the youthful folly, intolerance to understanding, to forgiveness, but yours is on humor and finding delight, finding pleasure. What do you take from that?
Yeah, I remember when I first read this, when I got the book, and it was such a just relief, just such a affirming, nice thing, because that's a part of me that's always there. And especially at that point, it was usually buried down deep through the layers of seriousness. And that's what I really loved with like the brand. It's like, oh no, if that's buried, then that's literally putting the magnetic, factor away. So I really like it. And then it's just very interesting that we're going through it this week, is just a reminder to put that at the forefront. I'm very much like that in person. So I think that's what's very natural about it. Now I think about it, when people have shared with me that the in-person experience is magnetic. And so I just reminded that I think that gets lost through the layers of online stuff,
Yeah, that feels really on point, to where like, yeah, if things are so polished, they lose their humor, right? That humor is, this says here, your sense of humor flows naturally from your heart. It's not something that, like you perfect it like a comedian necessarily. I guess you could, but it's that authentic, bid for connection in a humorous way that flows naturally from you. And sometimes, when you're adding in memes and whatnot to your
my favorite
to your presentations, right? Like that's a piece of your humor too.
Yeah.
And so allowing some of that to come out versus making everything so polished kind of feels on point for you. Okay. So. You guys good? Yep, there, we'll go through. There, everyone's good. Let's do a quick meditation and see. So this is again, I didn't shift that either. The brand sphere is where you're feeling like any sense of confusion about who you are specifically, or where you're looking out and imitating others rather than allowing your full truth to come out from inside. It doesn't mean that you never learn from what other people are doing, right? There's a sense of imitation being proper when you're in the beginning learning stages of things, right? That's how babies learn. That's how, all of it, like we see and then we try and then we figure out our own steps. And so it's that sense of moving from imitation into your authenticity. So let's come into kind of a meditative space together. I always like to do a hand on heart and hand on belly. Take a deep breath through the nose and hold it. And let it go. Take one more deep breath in. And let it go. And as you come into this calm space, allowing yourself to sink in. It's like you're sitting on a cloud and just sinking in and sinking further and further and deeper into the core of who you are. And as you're in that beautiful space inside, you see a door open. You wander over and see what's through the door. Notice what kind of space you're in. And as you are looking around and taking in what you see and what you hear, what you feel, how does the air feel around you? You notice your business, literally as a person, sitting in this space with you. And as you are sitting in this space, you walk over and sit with your business. And you find that they want to share with you what's coming up. So sitting with your business, ask them, what is it that you truly want to express? What do you need to impress upon the world? And as you take that in, I'm going to thank your business for giving you that information, loving on your business. And taking it in and just letting it incorporate right back into your heart. And as we go back out the door, sink back into that beautiful cloud. And come back up with a deep breath in and let it out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the space. Does anyone want to share? Did anything come up that was surprising for you or different from what you expected?
I'll share. My business, the first thing it wanted to tell me was I feel confined and too rigid and structured. And then the thing that it wanted to, like when I first saw it, it was just like a bunch of angles everywhere. It wasn't even like a thing. It was just a mass of like geometric structures that were like very vague. And then as soon as I asked it, okay, well, what do you want to be then? It just dissolved into liquid and filled the space. It was just like a big empty space that I walked into. And I just filled the space and it said, I want to be water for everybody. And I don't really know what that means. I didn't even want people to drink it necessarily. It just wanted to like infuse through osmosis and be there for everybody. They didn't even have to like take notice of it or do the act of bending down to drink it, just like infuse their roots so they can continue living. So it was very surprising. I don't really know what it means yet and like what it means for my business right now, but I'm glad that I got to talk to it that way. So thank you.
Yeah. Ooh, that's beautiful. I want to be water. I'm seeing connection there too. That difference between angles and geometric forms to water being just a connection. We're made of water, right? We think about drops in an ocean, right? The ocean is every drop. It's all of it and every part of it.
My background is actually in biology. I got a degree in that and professional writing. And water is like the ultimate bridge for all of us. And as we're all like one, just like our cells are one, it requires water to move through and into each other. So it's very interesting to think of it like that. And in fact, your image that you have on your introduction slide of that picture, did you draw it or paint it?
Yes, it's an oil. It's this right here.
Yeah. That the first time I saw it, it just looks exactly like a cell. And that structure is like a cellular structure that allows things in and out. And it just reminds me of that exactly of it. So I don't know exactly what your painting means. What does it mean?
So that came through as like a download of like, I had to get it onto paper of just a vessel, that we are a vessel, and the water being, what we allow to flow to and through us, and that the more we allow to flow to and through, the more we can expand our capacity to receive, the more we can expand our vessel, the size of it. And that the more we receive through the top, the more also flows through the bottom. And so it's like covering, as it goes down, it's like covering the earth in your own special way. And there's on the slide you can see, but there's actually like a little crack, like a crack that's filled with gold, but it's left open because that's where we are wounded in childhood, the wounds that we tend to heal and move through, that's where more of us tends to pour out. Like that's the concentration of, this is where I've healed and this is where I want to help heal the world even more. So that's what that means to me.
It looks exactly like an ion channel, which does pretty much the same thing. It like can open and close depending on what's going on and what's needed. So I thought that
Weird.
was the very first moment. Yeah.
I love that. Nope, no one has ever said that before. Thank you. Kristen or Sebastian, anything come up for you?
I was actually wondering, Kira, I had an image flash through while you were talking about the water. Are you open to me sharing it with you? It was, and when I was studying ions just last night, so I'm cracking up because I'm like, yeah, it does look like that. I was seeing like mycelium underground and it being more like groundwater underwater, and this really kind of electrical connection, that a lot of connection. And the most clear association I could make was like mycelium.
Thank you for sharing that. That really feels really good. And it reminds me of my Pearl, my line 6 is nature. And then in my Jupiter culture, my line 4 is network.
Ooh.
Lots of that comes through for me. So thank you for sharing that. And that definitely kind of resonates with, like, I don't want people to have to like really necessarily partake of it purposefully. It just is and provides.
Beautiful. I had that imagery too, Kristen. Also, like, interestingly, when you mentioned grounding, like that kind of came up through to me as well. We're connected. Sebastian, anything from you?
Yes. Yeah, I think you have different ways where the humor can shine through. And also just reminded me of a Alex Hormozy video of just like all the different quirks about us, making us us, and a lot of things that maybe certain stereotypes that people are used to seeing. So then when we show our quirks, there's the different parts of us that don't fit the mold, and then that stands out. So that was, that's what I got from that, which was places where the humor can shine through, and then just really remembering that the not fitting the mold and combining different things together that feel right is what stands out.
Yeah. Creating your stamp, you can, like you said, you can imitate and pull pieces from different things, but your unique combination is you. Beautiful. So, homework. What is the shadow of your brand sphere and what is the gift? And again, the shadow is where you're feeling confused about who you are, your message, all of that, and or just straight up copy paste from someone else. And the gift is going to emerge when you move back into alignment with, your uniqueness, especially in that, that gift area. So if you need to take a little screenshot of that, that's good. But it is 4 o'clock, so we are complete for the hour. But if you would like to, if you have any more questions, or if you want to ask about any of the other spheres, I can stay on for another 10 minutes or so.
I have a couple of, I guess, kind of like defining questions about what we've gone through so far already.
Okay.
So if anybody has anything first, they could definitely go first, because mine's kind of like what we've covered all together.
I think it's your turn.
Okay. Well, back with the vocation sphere, what would you like fill, like these are basically just like filling in the blanks so I can understand better how they work in with the money magnetism piece. It's like for the vocation sphere, it's about like, what would you say? It's about this. I know that one of the prompts that you said was you can ask yourself, where do I feel tightness? So how would you say the vocation sphere and money magnetism, it's about what?
The vocation sphere is about your work, like your literal, like what you do, how you serve in the world. Let me jump back to that one. So yeah, that would be, your brand is different from your work, right? So that I think that's the difference there. Again, your brand being what others see from you, and your vocation being what you're actually doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Nope, that's not what I want. Yeah, so in this one, the interesting thing with the vocation, they used the screenwriter, or the movie scene example for that one. Where did we
All right,
say?
and then for the culture sphere, you said it's about how we connect, how we magnetize to others and magnetize others to us.
Yes.
Would you say in relation to money magnetism, it's about like your network of people that you work with, or how would you say the culture sphere fits into money magnetism?
So the culture sphere fits into money magnetism in that it's how you draw people to you. So it's helping heal your relationship with and to others in the way that you attract, and allowing the right people to come to you. So one of the things that he says in the book is that from a money perspective, you could actually work on just the culture sphere, and that will be one of the quickest ways to shift your literal money situation, is through even more the culture sphere, more even than the pearl itself, because it's healing your relationship to how you relate to other people, which then draws the right people to you for your work.
Okay. And then for the pearl sphere, it's in regards to money magnetism, it's about receiving, like.
Yes. Yeah. So the pearl itself it's about your ability to receive money. And so those thoughts of, the shadow and the gift, where is that? Like if you put money as an entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like pretending like you're two different people, where are you, for me, where am I obsessing about money, either in a self-denying way or a narcissistic way about money? And where can I move into letting naturalness flow, like the natural flow of money? Money comes in, money flows out. That is the natural process. How can I be in that flow? And that's where money is then more easily magnetized. I'm able to receive. It's actually really similar to this again. I'm able to receive more because I'm allowing it to flow through in its natural course. But yeah, it's like, money as a person, you can put it that way. Money is a little being in and of itself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. What else? I feel like the slides got better as I went through. Got more descriptive with what was happening. So yeah, the culture, I really love focusing on the culture sphere, actually. I think it's just a hugely important one for us to, especially all of us as small business owners, that's the lifeblood of our business, is connecting with the right people. And more so than that, magnetizing, having a strong enough magnet that you're magnetizing people to you and repelling the wrong people away. They're not that they're wrong as people, just that, right? They're not the right fit for your business. And so you want to magnetize the right people to you.
That fractal line of people.
Fractal. Yep. That fractal line. And the brand at the front is, like we said today, like that's like the beacon. And then like the culture sphere is like the tractor beam, like pulling them in.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you have in the shadow, if you have both qualities of the repressive and the reactive nature kind of consistently?
That I would feel, which one are you looking at right now? Which two are kind of resonating?
I'm looking at our one from today. So I'm in my 31 sphere, or gate rather. And it's the repressive nature is deferring and the reactive nature is scornful. And it's talking about types of arrogance.
Okay.
The one is like about giving your power away, specifically setting yourself below them.
Mhm.
It's like a false humility. And then the other one's more traditional arrogance, where it's like assuming that you're better than others because they're so easily conditioned and manipulated. And I would say that I definitely like frequent both of those places throughout my life.
Do you notice any patterns with what types of people? Is it like between business and family, or like in education spheres or friend spheres? Do you think there's any
I would say
pattern there?
with the reactive one, it's more like overarching.
Okay.
It has been more overarching, like just like a general sort of judgment of people, not specific people, just like people being so easily manipulated and like, yeah, conditioned and da da da. And then I would say with the repressive nature, deferring my power to others, that's more specific people.
Okay. So it's
That's
like,
the most noticeable difference.
so like collective or group versus individuals.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. I think the same like framework would apply, is just to notice when it's coming through. So for someone who is mostly in the repressed state, they might only really have to look for the repressed state for the most part. But if you have this awareness that, oh, if I'm in groups, right? Because what's coming through for me right now is that you also want to speak in front of groups, right? And so noticing that, like that you want to put yourself into containers with lots of people to get your message out and to be seen and be visible with large groups, is to notice where the reactive is showing up as arrogance when you're among a group. And then if you're in one-on-one situations, right, noticing that it might come out as the repressed, more in that when you're feeling, if you start to notice any pedestaling going on or any hierarchy-ness.
Do you end up meeting both of those states with the same kind of qualities of gift? Do you meet them with the same? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yes. And I would say it's like, finding your path from each way. So if it's like, here's the top of the mountain, and like you could take this route or you could take this route around,
Mhm.
just knowing which way you took to get to that. You know, you got to the shadow, you went this way. All right, we gotta come back to the gift on this side of the mountain, or come back, you know, from the group setting, come back from arrogance on this side.
Mhm. Okay.
But it's, yeah, it'll be, that's very interesting with the group versus individual, how it might, how, again, this is the brand, how you might be perceived by others.
That's interesting, because right now I'm doing it how I perceive others, not how not how they. So I need to remember to think about everything I'm reading for this gate. Is that true? Like how others are perceiving me rather than how I'm relating to others? Or is it both?
I would look at it through both lenses, but take the special, yeah, take that extra step of like lifting up and turning around of, yeah, how others might perceive you, which is not easy. It's like, that's like a brain twister.
That's a really interesting flip. Yeah, I think probably it would lean more toward the reactive then, if it was others perceiving me.
Mm.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to ask a lot of others.
Good.
Especially people from my past, because I feel like I've worked a bit on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good, I don't know, we all like deep conversations, I think, in this group. You have people you could ask.
I think it would probably be more the reactive of how other people would perceive me, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Except for maybe like Marla. She might see through the baloney and be like, I see you deferring yourself to others. Stop it.
Probably. She sees the thing.
She kind of said something like that to me actually several months ago. She's like, you're sort of sitting right outside here.
Mm.
And it like really triggered me. I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? And after a couple of days of sitting with that, I was like, oh wow, this is what she's talking about. And it was like this.
Mm. Yeah, that was her perceiving you.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
You're welcome. All right. Well, next week we're going to go over, my plan was to go over the conscious Mercury, because that is how we communicate. And if you can embody your conscious Mercury, that is how, you know, that's your messaging that will then reach your fractal line. So we've been talking about fractal line. That's the messaging that will resonate with that line. So does that resonate with everyone else? Do you want to go over that piece as well? Okay. First, my other thought was like, we could like go through like the whole sequence one more time and just like digest it a little more. But if we're good with that, we can move on to Mercury.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm down for that.
Okay. All right. Well, it was beautiful to see you. And if, Kira, I know I mentioned this to you and Sebastian is working on it in the background. If anyone else joins, if you invite someone and they join, like, you will get a free month. And that's for anyone who is in the container and paying. Like, that's how I would love for this to grow, is just to be an organic. We're inviting people that we want to spend time with, and create a space of curious exploration. So yeah, that's open to anyone who is interested in gene keys and human design and building a business.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I have a
welcome.
few people in mind.
Beautiful. Yeah, love it. And they are also welcome to come and like visit and be here once to, you know, it's not like, oh, you have to sign up on the first one. Like, come try it out, see what it's like, and we'll keep going from there. All right, everyone. I will see you all soon. I think Thursday, right? Some of you.
Thanks, Hannah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.